What's up guys and welcome to the channel. I've used the VAXEE PA mousepad for about 2 weeks now and I'm at the same time disappointed and positively surprised. In my YouTube short I mentioned that the mousepad is slower than the G-SR-SE, but that's actually not the case. There was actually just an issue with some of these pre-production samples that were sent to me and some professional players. That made the out-of-the-box experience of the PA pad slower than the G-SR-SE. There are two designs for the PA. There is the minimalistic outset design that I absolutely love, and then there is the side gen, which is kind of this Japanese artwork kind of style. Both look really nice to me, but I myself prefer the outset design. I mean, the color scheme just fits to pretty much any setup. The PA comes in only one size. It's 470mm x 390mm. This is pretty much a perfect size for me. I don't need anything that's larger than this because I play with a medium to high sensitivity. Any kind of vertical or horizontal motion can be performed just fine with this size. But of course, if you are one of those people that does not like their arm laying on the table and wants it completely on top of the mousepad, this height might not be enough for you. The mousepad is also very comfortable to use as it's very smooth to your hand and your skin. There should be no way this surface is abrasive to you. What also helps is that there is no stitching whatsoever, so the sides of the pad feel very comfortable also. This is something that professional players seem to prefer, and VAXEE does design their products for professional gaming. The glide on the PA is actually very smooth and it's surprisingly fast. There is quite a bit of static friction and the mouse is still easy to stop, so that dynamic friction still exists. What I've noticed is that with some mouse feet, like for example the ZOWIE G-SR-SE default skates, it's pretty hard to micro-adjust because of the static friction. But then again, when I use a mouse like the NP01S from VAXEE, the glide is much faster than with the G-SR-SE, and the static friction also decreases, so it's much easier to do micro-adjustments, and the feeling is actually pretty great. Even the dynamic friction is fairly low here, so it might actually surprise you how fast this mousepad is. And the same applies to any kind of small feet. For example, ultralight 2 feet here, these are actually core pads, but the feeling with these is actually quite nice. It's very fast and there is pretty much no static friction. Surprisingly fast considering that this mousepad is fairly similar to the G-SR-SE in almost every other way. If I would have to choose a perfect combination with this mousepad, I would choose something that has fairly small feet and maybe even aftermarket feet to improve the glide even more. By the way guys, do not forget to click the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Good things keep happening to people who click it on my videos. Usually it's something like it helps your aim or you get a massive 40 bomb in CSGO or Valorant, but my man Knoten found some chicken nuggets in the freezer. It's the little things, you know. As I already mentioned, VAXEE does design their products for competitive and professional gaming, and they listen to a lot of opinions from professional gamers, so I do understand the missing stitching and the surface feel. This mousepad is something that we will for sure see in the professional CSGO and Valorant scenes. I've already seen Dupree from Astralis use the pad, and there are of course a lot of unconfirmed ones. And VAXEE does not sponsor any teams or players, so if they keep using the pad, it's not because VAXEE is paying them or sponsoring them, it's because they like it. The base of the pad is high density natural rubber and it sticks to my desk very well. Doesn't really move at all even when I try to move it, and in game it doesn't move at all. But the base feels very good and flat, there are no bumps whatsoever. It is 3.5mm thick and it's not soft by any means. There is little to no give at all, and this is kind of a negative aspect for me. I prefer some softness on my surfaces, so if I want that additional stopping power, I can create that with a soft surface. VAXEE did mention themselves that the mousepad is affected by humidity, but a good trick to counter that is actually a sports sleeve like this. So for example, when my arm gets slightly sweaty, when the hand is moist and you move your hand on the mousepad, it starts feeling very sticky. But what helps a lot with this is of course a sports sleeve, and I don't have any humidity issue with this. In Finland it gets hot during the summer, but other than that I do not never suffer from any kind of humidity issues. I would say that room temperature is not that bad in Finland, so it might be that in some other countries of course just the room temperature and the room humidity makes it so that the pad gets slower. But in my experience, the only humidity issues that I get is when my arm or my palm sweats, and that gets sort of into the mousepad surface. Pricing for the standard version is 30 euros or 30 USD, and the one with the custom ID, it's 43 euros or 40 USD. With the custom ID, you can get your nickname or something onto the pad. These pads are by no means the cheapest ones, and there are also shipping costs. Those depend highly on where you're from, but of course they can increase the price quite a bit. So the PA in my opinion is by no means perfect. I would have liked to see a little bit softer base with this kind of speed. Also of course the fact that it is affected by humidity is going to be a deal breaker for some people. The consistency has been very good. The mousepad feels pretty much exactly the same no matter what time, how warm my room temperature is or whatever. If the PA can actually keep up the consistency, it's going to be a top tier mousepad. I've only used it for 2 weeks though, so I can't say too much about the durability. And that's the main issue with these mousepad reviews. I just do not have the time to use that 2 months for all the pads that I get for reviews. It's going to have a hard time fitting into my personal top 5 with my own preferences, but CSGO and Valorant professional players will for sure like. It's very good for those precise headshots in TAC FPS, but it will suffer in tracking with some mouse feet and mice. With the stock EZ3C skates I had a real tough time tracking in Warzone, but with the new speedy skates it's okay. And the fact that it's quite mouse feet dependent is the main negative aspect for me. As somebody who reviews peripherals, I of course have to change mice a lot, and having a different mice every month or something means that those feet are going to be different and they're gonna feel different. So it's a negative thing for me that with some stock feet this mousepad might feel quite bad. But that's pretty much it for the video. If the mousepad stays consistent for about 4 months, it will be a top tier choice. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button, and see you in the next one.